Welcome back to So This is Thailand, and we have a very special guest in the studio today. Some of you may know him as the coach, Kun Griangsak Nirat Pathanasai, who is the coach guiding businesses through all sorts of obstacles, cultural barriers, communication problems. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, you know, we actually talked with you before, looking at especially coaching expats who have come here for work and helping them overcome some of their own barriers, obviously. And you said you had really broken them down into three groups: those who learn quickly, let's say 6 months; the year-long people, kind of average; and those who are, as you mentioned, the stubborn ones,
yes.
the 2-year plus.
Yes.
And we talked briefly about some of the books that you've written. So we'd actually like to go into some more detail on these.
Okay.
Because, you know, as I've looked through this, there are some topics in here which, as an expat, you don't think about, but they are indeed very important. We mentioned things like Greng Chai and the face, and not only in the workplace, but the importance of the communication outside the workplace. How did you compile all this information?
Two things: my experience and observation. I have worked in the multinational corporation about 20 years, and I started doing the coaching for 12 years now. So those 20 years when I work, I observed that I used to work in Citibank, DHL, and Ericsson. So and I can see that whenever a foreigner comes, they always ask the same question: why Thai don't speak in the meeting? Okay. Why they say yes but they don't do? Okay. Why they disagree with me but they don't say? Okay. So those sort of common questions, FAQ. And it's come back to this. I have to explain. Okay, this is Greng Chai, this is respect, high gear, this is the saving face, this is we have a tendency to shy. So those experience I collect those experience and try to share that in the Bangkok Post. So I have written in Bangkok Post every Mondays under the name Bridging the Gap for 12 years. Okay. In the early days when I wrote that, and a lot of expats said, just email to me and say, oh, this is the same as my frustration. Okay, now thank you very much. So that's how it's become the book, because a lot of people want to read more about it. Yeah.
Right. That is definitely something very useful for expats. And what about some of the other topics that you've written about? Some of them are in Thai, like how to present high-impact presentation.
Yes.
And also on communication.
Yes.
How did you come up with that?
That presentation skill is, after I coach a few expats, they say that, Kun Griangsak, I need you to help me to teach Thai how to, give a good public speaking, because we have a lot of smart Thai, good Thais, but they're afraid to speak. They just speak, don't attractive. So that's how I come up with the presentation skill workshop. And right now, not only the workshop, we also do the one-on-one coaching for the CEO to be, that a lot of CEO to be have to present their business case, strategies, and when the boss said, hey, Griangsak, you are one of the candidates, you need to prepare that. That's why they need, some help. So we coach them on this presentation skill, and it's become a book. Okay.
Well, looking at presentations, I know I've been to my fair share of, I might say, boring presentations, unfortunately. We obviously, that people have different presentation styles. They're delivering different types of information. Do you teach about, like, let's say as an expat or even as a Thai CEO, if you're presenting to a board or versus an investor or to your clients, your customers, are there different styles or approaches for each one of those groups?
Yes. Inside that book, I call it ABC rules. Okay. ABC rule is simple: audience, benefit, consequence. Okay. First, as you ask, who is your audience? Okay. What are the common characteristics? The board, they're impatient. They want to see the result. They just don't want you to, beat around the bush. Okay. But if you're teaching the student, you present to student, is different. And I observe a lot of senior executive. think that their board is student lectures and I have heard a lot of board members say that we are boring to a lot of senior Thai executive lecture us. They thought that we are student, give a lot of background. We don't want to know that. Okay. ABC, first audience, what in it for them benefit, and what consequence do you expect? Do you expect the board to make decision or just acknowledge the proposal or whatever? So ABC is the first rule. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to go home now and revise what they're looking at. Looking at the other types of relationships. You also have another book called Punam.
Yes, this one is communicate like a leaders. So basically, I consolidate my coaching experience and try to transform this knowledge to any leaders. Okay. So basically, they teach leader how to coach one-on-one, and they focus on three things: listening, asking question, and how to speak. Precise and direct to the point. Yeah.
So actually, you could say that Thai people are already good listeners. We're so used to listening, but coming out the other way is a little more difficult.
True.
Oh no?
We are not good listener. We are good hearers.
Okay. Yes.
And it's different hearing and listening, right? You can see that a lot of Thai, listen to you. And any Thai boss or expert boss thought that, that person understood me. No, we hear you. And usually we don't understand all of the things, or we may disagree with some part. And this is bad listening also. Because when we disagree, we have a tendency to show that we agree. And this is a big problem for not only for foreigners, for Thais also. We have a lot of yes, which does not mean yes.
Yeah.
So that bad listening.
Okay.
So good listening is different. Good listening is mean that you have to reflect back. Okay, Kun Johan, I heard you. This is what I understand, but this part I'm not quite sure. Could you elaborate more? And this is Thai. We are not quite good at that because it looks stupid. Perceive that I'm stupid if I'm clarified. But we know in life, if without clarification, we have a tendency to misunderstanding.
Right.
I know from my own experience in teaching and also in the media, whether I'm in a classroom and I'll ask students, are there any questions? Obviously no hands go up. After the class finishes and I'm about to leave, Ajahn. And in the media, if you're at a press conference, they'll ask questions of the reporters whose job is communication. Are there any questions? No one will go up, but as soon as it's over, they'll all crowd around the guest and ask for an interview.
Yes.
How, as an expat, how do you overcome that? Or do you just say, you know what, that's the style, expect that after I'm finished talking, I'm going to have to go back and clarify or answer some more questions?
Okay, that's a good question. As an expat, I think you need to spend more time before and after the formal press release. If you go before and have a chat with a few of medias and try to be friend with them, usually they have some question to ask you before, or even once the ice is breaking, so it's quite easy, And I think most of expat boss have a tendency to rush everything, right? So spare time in the beginnings, speak, and then don't expect people to interact much, and after that spare time a lot, because that's what happened, To give you the good example is the governor of Ayutthaya province. He has a good trick on how to manage media. He said that go early, try to do this, and at the end spare time and spend time with media. And he got a lot of news released that way because people feel comfortable with him. So that I think you should learn from him.
So it's what works with Thai people.
Correct. Yeah.
What are some of the other things that you could do to help to improve communication?
Okay, I think the communication, and usually if we look at the organization problems, 80% is come from miscommunication. Okay? And this is simple thing: miscommunication, listening, asking question, and speaking. Okay? What I try to encourage any leaders is that speak less, listen more, ask question more. Okay, and if you listen more, people will have a tendency to share with you what they're thinking. Okay. If we try to be expert, tell everything, one day people will not say anything. They just listen to you, and they might, yes, boss, but I will not do. Yes. Okay, you said, okay, you do it yourself. I will do my own way. Yes. Yeah. Engage people by listen to them, ask questions.
One last question, and I know it's one that kind of an obvious one. It's the language barrier. Now, obviously, if I'm asking someone, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" and they don't, they'll still go, "Yes, Thai," and then no. It's like no, yes. Is it necessary for a manager, an expat manager, to come here to learn Thai? Will it make it easier? Obviously, you may be a good manager, but learning languages is a completely different skill set.
I don't think so. It's nice to have, but language is depend on the individual learning capabilities. Some people very good at learn any language. Okay. If you are not that type, I don't suggest, because learning Thai is quite difficult. I think Thai learn English is probably easier than the Westerner learn Thai. The accent, I think difficult. But you may learn just a few words. ขอบคุณ สวัสดีครับ or just a greeting word, and then the core is your thinking, your attitude to Thai. First, if you're ใจร้อน, if you're impatient, you have to ใจเย็น and reverse your thinking, which is difficult. Okay. If you want to get things fast, you have to be patient. That's the first rule in Thailand. And then looking at Thai strengths. Okay. Thai have a tendency to accommodate the boss. So if you're nice with them, if you can buy the heart, so the rest is easy, right? So spend time, try to understand Thai, try to listen to them, watch them, and then in the long run, it would be much easier for you.
So it's essentially you're kind of developing Thai traits by changing your thinking.
Correct. Yeah.
So becoming more patient or trying to buy the heart, and it's very Thai thinking actually.
I can see why you have those stubborn people who just try to hold out for those couple of years.
It's very difficult for a lot of Westerners.
Not only difficult for them, but I'm sure it's difficult for their staff as well. It's a long time to have to deal with an impatient boss.
Yes.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for joining us again. And as always, we know you probably have a lot more questions that we didn't get to cover. Do go out. We do recommend you go out and read the books, because
before someone gives it to you.
Before someone gives it to you, because then it's a little too late. But actually, it's never too late.
Yes.
It's never too late to learn and to learn to communicate. So thank you once again, and I might say, Sawasdee krap.
Sawasdee krap. Sawasdee krap. Thank you very much.
That's all from So This is Thailand right now, but will be more after the break.
This is Pratat Chaya or Chaya Pagoda in Surat Thani province, and next to me, as usual, we still have Kun Supit. Hello. TAT, of course, from region number 5, Southern area. This is one of the landmark and the symbolic of Surat Thani.
Surat Thani. Yes, we call Wat Phra Boromathachaya Wara Vihan. The Buddha relics inside the enshrined inside the pagoda. Yes, and it was constructed along the Mahayana Buddhist relief from the 7th century.
Wow!
The age of this vihan and this pagoda more than 1,200 years. This pagoda is very important for Surat Thani people, because all of the people in Surat Thani, they come here to pay respect this pagoda. The symbol of the Surat Thani, like a logo of Surat Thani, we put this pagoda inside.
Oh, it's quite heart and soul of people here. We believe that when we walk around the pagoda, so it will give us the goodness. So I can see that this is a new one because they are reconstructed. So how was the old one?
The old one is the same figure like this also, but they're very, very old. And you know, especially in this Vihan and this Chedi, it's just only here that have the water surrounding the Chedi.
Yeah, is there any meaning of that?
Because the old one, before there is no any water. And then after make this area, this building, so the basement of the Chedi is very low and there is some water. So that's why they need to make like a pool surrounding the Chedi.
Yeah, it's nice and peaceful to walk around here with the Buddha images along the vihara or the terrace around here.
Yes.
Peaceful.
This Buddha is the Chaya style Buddha's image.